Timberwolves get their first home loss of the season. They're now 7-1 at home and 11-4 overall, still the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. We drop to the Kings, who are now 9-6. Great basketball team. I thought they had a wonderful game plan and really deserved the win in this one. And I think it's almost a good loss for the Wolves in that it's shown kind of like a beam that the Kings are now so known for. Just kind of the recipe for beating this team, or a lot of things that could be detrimental to this team. I'll talk about what essentially their entire fourth quarter game plan was. That's a thing that we may see a lot used against this team with the two bigs. And then additionally, they played extremely fast, which is kind of their rep. But I think that's something that's going to really happen frequently with this being the number 1 defense. People don't want you to get set. They're going to go fast after makes, misses. Any situation that they can get, they're going to go quickly. And when you got De'Aaron Fox as your point guard, you can do that in the blink of an eye. And additionally, they beat us up on the O boards again. That's becoming a bit of a theme with this team. And we really need guards to help out with rebounding. And we weren't great getting loose balls. A lot of those end up in second chance points for the Kings. And they were just drilling threes, especially in the first half in this game. 3-point differential is another big potential problem for the Wolves. You don't have a lot of 3-point shooters that you can really expect to be there every game. Like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a streaky 3-point shooter. You don't really know what you're going to get. Anthony Edwards having ups and downs. And then Shake Milton off the bench has been brutal, especially shooting the ball. I'm really concerned about his fit on this team. It's not so far into the season that we have to give up on him. But we need someone to produce in the guard backup role, and he has been bad. Jump shot looks terrible and isn't going in. He's not really getting his teammates involved. 1 assist tonight versus 3 turnovers. I'm pretty concerned with that, and I really would love some more consistent shooting for the team, and the bench has just been pretty volatile overall as well. There's a lot that I really have to talk about with this game. I want to talk a lot about Anthony Edwards especially. I feel like sometimes I gloss over talking about him because of my respect for him and how great he is. I'm just like, yo, this is the guy. We don't even need to talk about this because he's going to continue to just be a killer. Very interesting game in this one. 17 of 18 from the free throw line. Very rare that he gets half of that amount of free throws, and he was knocking them down. He was very aggressive, which I love to see. Something that is so incredible and omorant about Ant is that he'll take control. He sees a game collapsing. He's like, okay, they're starting to get some momentum here. He's going to step up and make a big-time play. He's the one that can spark this team back to life. A great example of this, Wolves are down by 22 in the first half as they had a really bad first quarter, especially defensively, and that's become a bit of a trend for us as well, is that we have slow starts. So we're down 22. Anthony Edwards hits a 3. A little bit later, gets an and 1. And Ant can be the spark. Cat can be fuel. I don't trust Cat as much to make the smart right play to kind of jolt us back to life. But once things start going our way and he gets put in the right spot, he can just make things snowball and really get things going. He was a good player for us tonight too, 4 of 5 on threes. Also, one thing I want to mention with Cat is that when he gets the smalls switched on to him, one thing he's really got to work on, I talk about his horrible animations kind of where he hooks people, but also he needs to learn to not try to be explosive when he's guarded by a guard, by a smaller player. Because he tries to do those rip-throughs and make a really fast move to get by the person, which is how he picks up a lot of charges. Just back down, make it obvious that he's not extending or bringing enough force that he's going to get a foul call on him. Make the decision quick, but the movement slow and controlled, where he can just kind of move that player, still be able to rise up for a hook or even a fade, and he just needs to use his height instead of still having that mentality of, I gotta get by this person. I said I was gonna talk about Ant, and then I get into like little details that I hate about Cat's game. Pretty typical of one of these videos. But back to Anthony Edwards. Another thing I'm really loving about him is that it seems like he's continuing to add to his game. The newest thing that I'm really noticing is he's slowing down his drives and controlling the opposing player movement, keeping people on his back more and really slowing down his last couple steps, kind of double clutching, being slow to finally release the ball. And I think that's a lot of why he got so many more foul calls in this game and why everyone's kind of confused on how to play with his pace. Because unlike Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, he's not a slow... I'm not even going to call Kyle unathletic, but that's kind of how he plays at times. Anthony Edwards is explosive as hell, and change of pace is a massive thing in basketball. So him getting that ability to really slow down his steps and get on a pace that you just don't expect is how he's getting more foul calls and becoming an even more unpredictable and elite scorer, and it is really impressive to watch. Let's talk about this fourth quarter. We're trailing by a fair amount. I had pretty dismal hopes for us in the fourth because De'Aaron Fox is the ultimate closer in the NBA right now, and he was that again, and the Kings know it. So what they did is they would have De'Aaron Fox, first off, not touch the ball right away so they could try to roll it and waste about 5 or 6 seconds with that big lead. But De'Aaron Fox would get a double horn screen from the two big men. So Harrison Barnes and Sabonis for the Kings. But that means our two bigs, Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert, get all the way brought up to the top of the key. No rim protection remaining there. And they're going to have to deal with that action. You have the fastest player in the NBA, De'Aaron Fox, up top, running off that screen with our bigs nowhere near the rim. How do you fix that? How do you play that? I don't know. The Wolves didn't know. We could not figure out that action, and the Kings were getting good looks over and over. I mean, De'Aaron's just coming downhill. He's got that pull-up whenever he wants, drawing more fouls than he did the rest of the game, and getting to the rim as well. That's just kind of a nightmare situation for our personnel. I think that's a situation where we really miss Jaden McDaniels. I think if we maybe have him, we sub him in for one of the bigs. Jaden can potentially hedge or switch out, and then he's guarding De'Aaron, which we might want anyway. And you got more athletes, length, and versatility with that horns action at the top of the key instead of two bigs versus De'Aaron Fox. That got abused. They were not varying from their play calls at all. It was like that every single time down the court. And that's just how you close out a game. And they exploit our weaknesses. They didn't deviate. That's what smart basketball teams do. They see an advantage, and they exploit it as much as they possibly can. The Wolves just couldn't really do that tonight, and we fumble a lot of plays that should be advantages for us that don't manifest into that. Specifically in this game, a lot of those came in transition. We'd have Naz Reid running on the break multiple times, and the passes to him were poor, or just he didn't catch them properly, and we had turnovers instead of what should have been easy dunks for Naz Reid. When at home, that's going to get everyone going, a lot of hype and momentum to get us back into the game, and we saw that in the first half, and then we just kind of didn't make the proper plays, and then things kind of regress at that point. You don't get the Naz Reid transition dunks. We make kickouts to open shooters. They don't make the shots. Our stars get a little bit more selfish. They're like, okay, we have to do this. Let me not kick out when I first see the double team. I'm going to spin away from it and take a hook shot. That's how you lose a game. And them getting 18 more shots in the full-length game is another one as well. We're out-rebounded for, that might be 4 or 5 games in a row. Last thing that I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. Troy Brown Jr., I loved his minutes tonight. Didn't shoot the ball well, but he's the only bench player that had a positive plus-minus, and he was hauling ass. When we made that run in the second quarter, I said that Anthony Edwards was the spark, Karl Anthony Towns is the fuel. It's kind of like Troy Brown was like suspending his head above the flame when rain was coming down. He's like, I'm not going to let anything quench this. I'm going to dive on the floor, get us an extra possession. I'm going to make a smart play and draw an offensive foul. And he didn't really... He stopped the fire from going out. So thanks, Troy Brown. Loved his hustle in this one. Made some great plays for us. Also, some really sweet jelly right hand on the left side after his spin move. Shout out for that, too. Kings are a good team. They probably did just kind of clinch our pool in the in-season tournament, so that makes it a double bummer, this loss. The winner of this game probably is going to win the pool just about no matter what, so sad. That's all I got. Bye-bye.